What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Tactical Tortoise. My name is Trevi, and I'm here with Sung Soo. How's it going, Sung?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Not too bad. Today, we're going to talk about oats. Latin name is Avena sativa. There's plenty of different varieties. You can get them in your supermarket. Steel cut oats and Quaker oats, you know.
Steel cut always confused me. Like, why does it matter what they use to cut my oats? Like, I don't really care what metal you use.
That gives you your iron.
Oh, then I could be like the Man of Steel?
Yes, exactly. In order to be the Man of Steel, you have to both be steel and cut, though.
Okay, so I'm only half the Man of Steel.
But which half?
Not the cut half. Not the cut half. It's been a long time.
Cool. So you're saying you're a hard guy.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, well, that was our discussion. I think we're done.
Yeah, man. Yeah, enjoy steel cut oats.
But really, it's going to be Zoats.
Oh, that's not oats. It sounds like it, though.
Notes. There was a typo on my notes sheet here. Notes. Hey.
That's no one needs that.
So this is going to be, hopefully, the first in a series of videos. We'll see if people like it and if we like to do it, where we invite you to join us on our journey into the bottomless abyss that is the actual background of 40k.
Yeah, where everything is canon, but there's no canon. So yeah.
There are cannons, though.
That's true, yeah. And Zoats could use them because they have appendages.
They do. They have fingers on the ends of their hands, unlike a lot of Tyranids. So, Sung, what is a Zoat? Do you know what a Zoat is?
A Zoat is about as confusing as a steel-cut oat. It's an old model that was introduced way back in the Rogue Trader era of Warhammer 40k, and it's a pseudo-centaur-like lizard person as far as appearances go. And like Trevi said, they actually have arms, and they don't have bioweapons, right? They end up using, they apparently like pick things up and use them.
The strangest variety of Tyranids that have ever been designed.
Yeah, and there's some, depending on where you choose to get your fiction from and where you read, they were either enslaved by the Tyranids or they were created by the Tyranids. Which one just kind of depends on where you want to get your source of truth from. They were independent, definitely more thinking than like a normal Gaunt or something like that, and a lot of people believe they were like the diplomats of the Tyranid race originally.
Yeah, so the reason that we're talking about these weird centaur boys is that obviously they've just been reintroduced into 40k in Blackstone Fortress, where you can now buy a Zoat called the Archivist, if I remember correctly, and you can put him into your Blackstone Fortress game or your 40k army. They're becoming more relevant to 40k, but the reason that their background is so weird is that they were originally released in the late 80s, early 90s. So we're talking like 30-year-old canon. And the background of Tyranids was actually way different.
Yeah, the Tyranid fluff overwhelmed a lot, and I don't really understand how they're going to fit Zoats into the current fluff they have going, right? It doesn't really jive.
Yeah, so sort of originally, the Tyranids were a lot less like xenomorphs from Aliens and more like the Borg, where like literally, take individuals of that species and assimilate them into the hive mind and then sort of muck with their DNA to make them do things better, whatever they wanted to do. So they used to have like orcs that have been added to the swarm and were evolved to be like, sort of laborers and heavy lifters because orcs have big old muscles. They also took humans and space marines and they turned them into like spotlights. Like they had lights on their heads, like an anglerfish, I guess.
I love anglerfish.
Yeah, and of course that's what the human genome would be good for, is turning you into a lamp.
That the Bible says we're here to bring light to the world. Old Tyranids were a lot more like what gene stealer cults are right now, where they would be subjugating people, and like Trevi said, kind of like Borg, where they would assimilate them. So Zoats coming back kind of makes sense, right? They were this enslaved lizardman centaur race, but how do they fit into current canon?
Like you mentioned before, they were very intelligent and they were very independent. And in the original fluff, they were meant to be diplomats and negotiators for the Tyranids. And basically their job was to they were like the Silver Surfer, basically. Like they would go to a planet and they'd be like, hey guys, what's up? We're the Tyranids and we're going to make you into a lamp. So have fun with that. And then usually they were pretty persuasive, and a lot of species and individuals would just go along with it. They're like, all right, that sounds good. I could use a big old light on my head.
It's funny. I actually had the same Silver Surfer analogy. I was ready to fire on that thing.
Oh, got him.
I don't understand how this works, man. I don't want to be made into a light. I would strongly object. I don't care how persuasive you are.
Well, let me tell you, I didn't write it down, but I did read a book for this video, so I brushed the dust off of my reading comprehension skills, and I read the novel Space Marine, so named because it was one of the first novels I think ever written in the world, but also one of the first 40k novels ever. It was from the early 90s.
1993.
This book's like older than I am.
That's depressing.
But the Zoat is described probably at least 4 or 5 times on a single page as being suave. So, I mean, as we can tell from that, I mean, they fuck. I think Zoats fuck.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It is really bad. There's like no plot. There's just some Space Marines, they're Imperial Fists, and it just focuses on like them doing stuff. They're off doing wacky hijinks around the universe. They talk about the Phalanx, the Imperial Fist Fortress Monastery, but they don't name it. And in pure Space Marine fashion, it's on a journey around the edge of the galaxy, and the Tyranids are on an intercept course, just sort of randomly. But I guess the Imperial Fists don't know how to turn the Phalanx around, so they're worried they're just going to run into them. No one in this book is very smart. In the section about Tyranids, starting at chapter 19, with the greatest line in fiction ever written, quote, "We're going in through its anus," end quote. It feels a lot like it's a sort of an early introduction to the Tyranids, and there's like a like pages and pages of exposition dump about like how the Tyranids work and what they do.
So, so let's come in from the back door where we're still talking about Zoats. So what are Zoats going to be like in current day 40k? You said they were getting added to Blackstone Fortress. We also mentioned that they're getting added to 40k. How is that going to work?
So currently, just from a mechanical standpoint, the Zoat right now, the archivist, is being added as an unaligned model, so you can add him to armies of a bunch of different factions, and you can just stick him in there. And he's a character model, and he's got a melted gun, basically, and a power fist. He's really boring.
Doesn't have a melting gun. He has an atomic disassembler.
Oh, shit. You're right. Yeah, that's different. It's like 6 more inches of range, right?
It doesn't have the melter rule either. You don't get cover from it.
Oh,
right?
Sick. So it's just a crappy melting gun. That makes a lot of sense.
Hey, man, you don't get cover.
But it seems like there's going to be the remnants of a couple Zoats that are left from their initial slavery, I guess, that when they were enslaved by the Tyranids. And there'll be a couple individuals they're sort of like rogues and scoundrels, right? They exist on the fringes of society, and you will probably see them become sort of these side characters that can support kind of fringe operatives, like rogue traders and things like that, who interact with a lot of different Xenos races.
Yeah, I mean, basically, in my mind, they're going to be the Han Solo and Chewbacca to the Warhammer 40k universe, where they're just going to be flying around on their funny ship doing things.
Yeah, for sure. And we have 2 Zoats right now that are currently been named in the current canon. It sounds like the naming convention of the Zoats is they're basically like forerunners from Halo. They just named themselves after whatever their job is. So we have like the plumber and the programmer, and then the ones that we actually know the names of are the archivist and the forerunner.
Yeah, so the forerunner, again, sounds like Silver Surfer, right? And the archivist sounds like a librarian of some type. I think that's what archivists do.
So the archivist specifically is the character that you can buy for Blackstone Fortress. The archivist is an information peddler. Because this is a Blackstone Fortress release, both of the Zoats story is heavily associated with the Blackstone Fortresses, and the archivist specifically is around to... It sounds like he's trying to get in to the fortress and recover some technology, and he's there to use his suavity, as it were, to manipulate the explorers of the fortress to aiding him in grabbing all those goodies.
So maybe he's a little less Han Solo and a little more Lando Calrissian then.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, man, can we model a cape onto our Zoat?
In fact, I'm surprised it doesn't have a cape modeled on it already.
I know, it just has this weird, like, pregnant belly thing going on. I'm not judging, I'm just saying.
Maybe that's the Zoat equivalent of a cape. We don't know what their culture's like.
All I know is the old Zoats to the new Zoats got thick.
They sure did. Yeah, the old Zoats from the 90s are skinny boys.
And this guy's beefy.
Yeah, they are described as being able to sort of engage a berserker rage. In the novel Space Marine, the literary masterpiece, Zoat both rips a Space Marine full in half and Mortal Kombat style pulls a Space Marine's head and spinal cord out of their body.
That's not good. You don't live through that.
Not usually.
I don't care. I don't care how many kidneys you have as a space marine. You don't live.
I noted some other things down. They board a Tyranid spaceship, right? And without any idea of what the environment is on the Tyranid spaceship, they just send scouts in with no helmets.
Oh, that should be fine. Because it's not like Tyranids can breathe everything. Oh, that was one thing at the Zoats, right? The Zoats actually couldn't breathe everything, right? That's why they actually had the mechanical rebreathers on them. And I think that's because, the Zoats Nids, real Nids, can breathe any environment, right? But Zoats...
Right.
Yeah, Zoats can only breathe, let's pretend it's methane. We'll just pretend.
That sounds right.
Do you recommend this book, Trevi?
No, don't do it. It's not worth it, boys.
Did you get a physical copy of the book, or did you had a PDF?
I did not. No, I got the EPUB.
Okay. I was going to be impressed if you found it because the cover of the book looks pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's like some real old school 40k art.
Yeah, it's classical. The checker pattern on the shoulder, the giant plasma gun. It's pretty sweet.
I read back in the day that Let the Galaxy Burn Omnibus, and it used the same piece of art.
Did it really?
Yeah.
Right, 100% does. That's not cool. It's literally shifted to the right like 4 inches.
They figured nobody would notice because I imagine no one read this novel, Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine by Ian Watson.
I think that wraps up our little Zoat fluff session. Is there anything else we need to cover with Zoats?
I don't believe so. I think we've done it. I think we've told the viewers and the listeners everything there is to know about Zoats, which is like 2 paragraphs.
So we hope you enjoyed this foray into Zoats. It should be kind of cool to see these unaligned little boys on the tabletop. And yeah, thanks for joining us. I think we might give one of these away too.
Are we going to give a Zoat away?
Yeah, we'll give a Zoat away.
All right.
How do we want to do that? To a subscriber who likes and shares? Comments? What do you want to do?
Let's do comments.
Okay.
We'll do comments. How about 1 week after the video has been posted? We will draw randomly 1 comment and we will give them a Zoat.
And you have to be subscribed to youtube.com/tacticaltortoise.
Yeah. Okay, everybody. That's it from these 2 crazy Zoats over here.
Thanks everybody for watching. Please let us know down in the comments whether you like this style of content. And if so, Sung and I will get hard at work making more cool, weird lore videos like this one. Remember to drop your comment down below and subscribe to the channel in order to be entered for the Zoat giveaway. And remember to check out Tactical Tortoise on Patreon, patreon.com/tacticaltortoise to get early access to videos, early access to T5S2 tournament pods, and a whole bunch of other cool benefits that are available. Thanks again for watching, everybody. Keep it classy, folks, and have happy wargaming.